I am Spencer Lull. I'm the owner of Mike Lull's Guitar Works. It's a family business, so I've always kind of been a part of the business, behind the scenes for sure, but officially became part of the company in 2020. And that was when also my dad passed away. But we kept it going and have a great, amazing crew of guys and just wonderful human beings. Yeah, I've just always been into it. I've always nerded out about this stuff. It's been just part of my life. I had to do this. My dad started the shop in 76. So he bought some electronics from a broken bass that a friend of his had and started getting to work and built his first bass, brought it home, and his dad was kind of like, I guess if you're that committed, I'll buy you a bass. And my dad just he was a super nerd, nerds are cool. I don't mean that in a bad way. He was really into the, just every little nuance and detail of what made electric instruments tick. And so he took apart that bass that his dad made him and put it back together. And all his friends at high school, he's like, yeah, I can work on your stuff. And kind of got known as the guy who worked on stuff. And if you wanted your instrument to play better or sound better, you brought it to Mike. Started his first shop in 76 and through bumps and dips of the years, kept it going. He got known, he was working all these bands' instruments, Mother Love Bone, before Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden. I mean, he was Queensryche. He was the guy. With them getting bigger and telling people, hey, go to Mike, the shop just kind of got busier and busier, and he finally had to hire, an employee. And that employee was Tom Albert, who's still here to this day. He's our master luthier. Again, just got busier and busier, and that kind of kept blowing up. And we were in a different location before through most of my childhood, which was about half a mile down the street. And man, I grew up in that shop. I burned my hand on every soldering iron. I would be here on weekends with my dad and trying to just understand what he was doing. He would tell me too, later on in life, that it's all about those little details. Like, if you're not going to sweat the small little details, then you're like everybody else. So if you want to be great at something, you got to learn those little things that take something from 92% to 99%. Can anything be ever 100%? It's up to opinion, but my dad's strived for it whenever he's a kid, 11, 12 years old. I got more into what made guitars tick. And so I was in middle school at the time, and I would, talk to my friends about bringing their instruments to the shop. And my dad's like, yeah, we could set up your friends' instruments too. And so I would sit there and learn how to do setups with him. And I remember cutting a nut and just ruining it. My dad's like, well, now you gotta make one. And I'm like, but I don't know how to do that. And he's like, okay, well, we're gonna do it together, And when I was 18, I finally was like, okay, I can get an official job at the shop. I'll sweep the floors, I'll clean the toilets, I don't care, I'll answer phones, I don't care what I have to do. Pay me nothing. I want to work here at the shop and be a part of it. And he sat me down, he's like, let's go to lunch. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm not getting the job, am I? Look, he tells me this at 18 years old. He goes, if you really want this and you really want to continue it whenever I'm gone at some point, which was, we always talked about it through, my teenage years. He's like, you're going to need to know stuff about business and that I can't teach you because I just figured it out, putting one foot in front of the other. He's like, I made so many mistakes and there's stuff that I don't know how to teach you regarding that side of stuff. And he's like, so we can teach you more and more luthery later, but I want you to go get experience in business and marketing and sales and supply chain management. And he listed 8 things to me that, of course, when I was 18, I'm like, I totally know what supply chain management means for sure. Let me go learn that. But I did go out into the world and I worked in various different industries, wholesale, automotive, sales, marketing, both digital and non-digital marketing. Was an employee, boss. And with every job that I would take, I would call my dad before I would take the job and I go, hey, this is the position that I'm being offered. do you think this would be a good thing to do for the good of the shop down the road? So I could learn it and bring these skills. And there were a couple that he'd be like, I don't think we need that. So maybe not a good opportunity. I'm like, okay. And I would stick with the current job until something else came up. But after about 10 years, 11 years of doing that, 10 years, I kept telling my dad over the years, I'm like, I'm ready. I want to come on board. And he's like, a little bit longer, maybe next year. And then finally, in August of 2019, we were at family vacation in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I sat my dad down, and we were both having a red hook, and I'm like, listen, I am ready. Like, actually, like, I really want to come on board. I love my career. It's cool doing what I'm doing. It's great. I know that I'm gonna, like, it's a different thing going from career that I've built to like small family business. It's not going to be the same level of benefits. There's going to probably be a massive pay cut. I understand all these things, and I really, really want to do it still. And he was like, you sure? He fully thought that, okay, going and working somewhere else, he's going to build a career, and he'll finally realize, like, he might not want to be a part of the family business. He might just live his own life. But he wanted to know that I was doing it for me and not just because I had to, or some sense of duty because I respected him. And so right then and there, he's like, June 2020, let's do it. So we found out my dad was sick in November, and he was kind of like, hey, if I don't know if I'm going to make it, and if I don't, you do not have to keep this going. It's, I know we were going to teach you Luthery, we were going to integrate you this way, and I won't be able to do that, obviously, if I'm not here. I was like, no matter what happens, I got you. Like, you put 44 years of your life into this, like, regardless. But I'm like, but frickin' make it, dude. But like, regardless of what happens, I want to keep it going and honor what you've built. And for everyone, all of our customers too, all the people all over the world who love what we make, not only on the instrument side, but on the repair work side, which we were massively, in demand. But a couple days before he passed away, he called me, FaceTimed me actually, and he was like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And I was like, whoa. Dad, like, what's going on? The doctors are saying things are going well. Chill. Like, and he goes, no, just hear me out. I just need you to shut up and listen for a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, if I don't, you got a little time? Yeah. So we sat on FaceTime for like 3 hours, and he went through like the very, very nitty gritty details of operating the business. This is where the CNC files are located. But like literally stuff of like almost passing the torch. And I'm like, yep. I wrote all my notes. I'm like, yeah, Dad, but like, thank you for telling me, but like, it's going to be fine. It's all going to be okay. And he's like, totally. I just don't know that. So, we did that. And he's like, are you still good? You still want to do this? And I'm like, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000% I want to do it. And, if I cry, I apologize. But, literally right after that, the next day, my dad passed away. So we got to be able to really hone all of those little things that if he hadn't had that conversation with me, I don't know if we still would be here right now, to be honest. That was right when COVID hit at the same time. Like literally 2 weeks after he passed, was the first outbreak in the US was in Kirkland. So it was like, Dad passes away. Hey, you need to be shut down for 2 months. And I'm like, what? It was already like hard enough as it was. But yeah, we had to like go through, furloughing every employee, and it was crazy. But I made a bet that it was still going to work out. Not just me, but all of my employees who stuck around and were extremely loyal, and just they're incredible. I just have to say, the team at our shop, not only are they incredible craftsmen, but they're just really incredible people. And that's something that I'm unbelievably grateful for. From that point on, it's just been, it was down here, and we kind of it just kind of did this, and now we're in a place I wouldn't recognize what it was like in 2020. So I tell my guys, and I have to remind myself, hey, if we made it through that year, we can make it through anything. It's an honor and it's a massive responsibility. There's so many things behind the scenes that you could easily just go, well, maybe not go that far. Maybe we're good enough, like right here. Maybe this is fine enough. Maybe we don't need to shield the instrument. Or like, no one's ever commented on our wiring, so maybe it doesn't need to be as pretty. Like, those little details that take exponentially more, like disproportionately more time to hone in on, when things were really, really, really tight and it factually didn't make like physical monetary sense to go those extra miles and things, it would have been so easy to just go, it's fine, it's okay. But because that's not the kind of people that my guys are, and because that's not how I was raised, and my dad really ingrained that in everyone, like, you go the extra mile. You can learn a lot about a luthier and by the way that he cuts a bone nut. Like, so many aspects of personality and work ethic and just what level he aspires, to be. It was especially important right when my dad passed, because all like magnifying glass on us. Beyond honored to have inherited such an incredible legacy, but just from the aspect of like, I often joke, like in the lutherie business, it's never going to be like bottles and models money. Like, it's just not the way it is. And we choose that, there's no regret. There's just, this is what we love. It's like, it was an honor to my dad. Like, every day that I walked by my dad's bench, I'm like, I really hope, wherever, with respect to anyone's beliefs, I'm like, I really hope I'm making you proud. And you're looking down going, okay, cool, good. The standard of excellence is so critical. My dad would say, he would say it like this, because he told me this many times. He's like, it takes decades to build a reputation. It takes one day to just throw it all away. Like, and he would often say, it's my name on the door out there. If someone messes up, they don't think about someone else. They think about me. Like, what we do on a daily basis in terms of building instruments, it's easy because they're all really cool. So like, I'm excited about everything that gets put on the wall, right? Like, for example, like yesterday we finished building that M4V translucent orange with a clear guard. And like, I was so excited. This is going to sound really stupid, but I was so excited about peeling the plastic off of the pickguard and seeing what the clear pickguard looked like over translucent orange. I was like, I got to get a video of this and put it on, on social media. I'm always pumped about the instrument side of things. We got some really cool projects coming down the line in terms of new models and whatnot. We're just excited to keep putting cool instruments out into the world, and the response that we get back from our clients and customers and friends is always really great. So I never take that for granted. Every instrument we build, it's like, okay, how can we make this the best it can be? Whether it's a custom order or an instrument for sale, like in the showroom, I sit and I play it, and if I don't get lost playing it and start thinking thoughts like, I haven't really gotten myself something nice in a while, or this one could be like, really, it starts kind of happening like subconsciously. When I start having that happen, I'm like, done. It's ready. It can go in the showroom. And on the repair side, like, there's not many things that are more fulfilling than having somebody come in with a problem, like, dude, this thing's going out of tune all the time. Or a kid coming in with a Squire, and they're just learning, and they're like, I'm having a really hard time with bar chords. And I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like, how could this kid be playing this, And get it professionally set up, cut the nut properly, intonate it, make the action, preferable for them. And then they grab it for the first time afterwards, and like, the amount of glee that people go into sometimes, like holding it, like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know it could play that. What? It plays so good. That is like one of the best feelings in the world. And yeah, sure, it might not be as much money as like selling a very high-end instrument, but the feeling is very, very comparable. Like, we love being of service to the musicians in the Pacific Northwest. It's a really just an honorable thing. We love doing it, and my guys love doing it, and it allows us to also be a part of the community in a really meaningful way that isn't just, hey, really, really high-end instrument that maybe not everybody can afford. So I really do have the best job in the world. I truthfully believe that, because it's just like happiness all the time. It's kid and candy store for me every day, because I walk into the showroom and just, it's cool shit. And then, we'll have like a Collings on the bench that's rad. My dad, honestly, for years was like, why would I buy a Plek machine? I can do really, really good fretwork. He was well known, like him and Tom were like known as, people were shipping stuff from Japan and Europe to have them do refrets. The thing that changed my dad's viewpoint was he brought an instrument down to Anaheim at the NAMM show where the Plek, had a booth, and they were like, hey, free scanning of your instrument, we'll show you, which it kind of takes some ego death to take an instrument and go, okay, I think I did a really good job on this. Let's see what the machine tells me. We bought 2 instruments over, actually, from his booth at NAMM. And one of them, he was like, I'm really, really proud of this one. Put it on the Plek, and it scanned it, and the Plek owners, Michael and, one of the chief guys, or Nick, was like, dude, this is like this scanned like really, really good. Like, this is really good. And he's like, oh, cool, great. My dad's kind of like, and he goes, here's the second one that he also felt really good about. And they looked at it and went, oh, okay, well, there's this little thing right here, this little thing right here, this little thing. My dad was kind of pissed at first. He's like, this is I did a good job on this. And then they looked at him and they're like, look, here's the thing. Your eye can't see as good as the Plek can. And like, I'll often tell people, the Plek doesn't care about your feelings, doesn't care about like if you had a good day today, or if you're in a bad mood or a good mood, or what level of luthier put their hands on the instrument, and whether or not to offend someone. It doesn't matter. It just tells you the factual information, which is amazing. And it helps us to be able to totally consistently put out a product that scientifically and empirically is the exact same consistency, where we go, this is the standard. It's a very expensive machine. It takes constant maintenance. It takes constant licensing fees. It is not a cheap thing to own. And it's like a calculator. It's only good as the input, the information being input. You can do a really, really crappy Plek if you want to. There are ways to do it. Don't ask how, because we've maybe learned those ways through experience. I got it in 2008. So we've had it for, wow, it'll be 18 years or something. Jeez, dude. So yeah, I would say owning the Plek it really is a massively important tool for us, but it is a significant investment consistently, because there's nobody else that makes a Plek machine. There's just Plek. And it really doesn't make sense to own a Plek unless you're doing massive amounts of volume of repair. Oh, the other thing I'll say about the Plek is the Plek saves everybody's hands. Oh, luthiers, I don't want it done by a machine. I want a real luthier to do it. I'm like, dude, think of your luthiers like arms and hands and forearm muscles, and it's freaking hard work. Just this all the time, and so the Plek does save on paid medical leave from having to do carpal tunnel surgery. So no, we love having it, but it only makes sense because we do so many Pleks every year. For the first 10 years, I don't trust machines. I'm like, my dad's like, okay, well, by the end of this, you will. And if you don't, I'm giving your money back. And people, oh, okay. And then they get it and go, shit, I got 14 guitars at home. I'll just start taking them in one by one, you know? So anyways, yeah, it's great, but it really only makes sense unless you do a very large amount of volume. Yeah, and we even have one of our guitars on a surrogate body right now being Pleked. So this is the Plek Pro, and we have a whole room for it because it is a fucking big machine. So, freaking big machine, sorry, PG. Yeah, so everything that gets Pleked gets done in this room. We also have like some surrogate bodies as well, like for our own instruments, so that while we're building something, we could actually Plek the neck by itself and then do electronics and wiring, and kind of just helps with efficiency and whatnot as well. Yeah. Plus, it's sometimes nice to not have like a brand new fresh body that you're, for a custom order, if you're like, I don't want to ding that, like, we put new instruments in here all the time, and we're very careful, but it's kind of like that Murphy's Law thing sometimes. Yeah. So, hence the surrogates for brand new instruments. Yeah, and then obviously my old PA gear, just for fun, because that's where it fits. You know, I love where we're at. I love the size of our team. I think just by nature of demand, we'll have to grow the team. Like, we make just under 200 instruments a year, which we can't, like, there's more demand than, like, we can't meet the demand for our instruments right now, which is, again, I'm not complaining. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I'm beyond grateful, but I don't know exactly what that number is 10 years from now. I mean, I'd love to, like, 10 years, I'd love to be in a position where, you know, we're making, I don't know, it sounds crazy to say it, but like 800 to 1,000 instruments a year, and we're known as like the guys for that field, you know, for the premium FSO style. And not just that too, but, you know, more things that you'll see from us soon. And also just still retain that Pacific Northwest repair provenance, you know. And we could have stopped doing repair a long time ago, but my dad loved doing it. It's also a different thing to do every day, which is cool for luthiers to, like, not just like, okay, cool, I'm sanding tummy cuts today. Like, that's just what I'm doing all day for 40 hours this week. Like, you know, I know my guys appreciate the, like, hey, they're going to be able to build, you know, a really cool guitar and then also then go do a neck reset, or, you know, do a setup on a Floyd cool Ibanez. You know, like, just there's variety, so it stays interesting and not mundane. But really, more than anything, is we love providing that service. And sure, maybe that means I make less money. Okay, like, fine. It's the service to the community is so much more rewarding than just like a digit on a screen. It's also cool when bands come through and, you know, hey, we see them on tour and they're playing stuff that we've worked on. Like, you know, Pearl Jam, for their home shows, we were all at the show and they, like, very thoughtfully invited us out. And we're looking at every single instrument they brought on stage. And they have a lot of instruments, you know. And me and Tom are sitting next to each other. I'm like, hey, refret, you know, like, hey, cool, I remember shielding that one, you know. And so it was cool to see that, like, just up close and be a part of the experience and go, dude, we did that. So yeah, I would say, man, like 10 years from now, I'd love to still be doing repair. At any given time, we have 200 to 300 guitars on the schedule. It's lots and lots of repair. I'd love to be building, you know, maybe there's a different facility where there's building in one area and you know, repair and whatnot in a different facility, or maybe a pick up and drop off locations in different areas. Haven't totally figured it out yet, as you can tell, but it's, the thing is, the future is really bright. Like, I like the future. I'm not terrified about it. And I feel very fortunate and grateful to be in a position, especially during this particular climate, that I don't take that for granted at all. And, you know, I double down on my people and making sure they're taken care of. We're full benefits, like really good benefits, great pay, very competitive, paid time off, good perks. I mean, like, there's so many things. Like, I'm very full health insurance, 100%. Like, I am so proud of that aspect of the business. My customers, making sure that they totally feel taken care of and appreciated. Going that extra mile in each service is really something that I take a lot of pride in, and I know my guys do as well. On the walls, these are gifts to the shop from the bands themselves. We got the first receipt of all time right here, and this was reinstall machines for Gary Shelton, who's still a customer to this day, is my dad's best friend. $1.05. Times have changed a little bit, but my office over here, which is kind of is what it is. We got a kind of lesson studio room right here, and like Matt's doing lessons in there right now. The boring stuff, but important. Kitchen, another office space. My baby boys have a nap in there right now. Storage, for gig bag room right here.
Sure.
And then kind of open repair space. So these are all guitars to be worked on. Over there are guitars that are done. Side rack. Here are instruments that are in process for like builds. Most of our stuff is actually currently at finish. But we got like a special run of instruments right here. Really cool S style that we call our SX. This is for a customer, custom build, alder body. This is fully prepped and ready for paint. You can tell it's been shielded. So that's nickel print in there. Every instrument we do is fully electrostatically shielded for RF interference, all of that. If you come over here, I'll show you kind of this is the dirty room, so I apologize. But
we all got
like CNC, laser, they make all of our pickup bobbins and stuff here, drill press, bandsaw, all the normal stuff, sanding spaces. This is where all the bone nuts get made, because anyone who's made a bone nut knows how wonderful it smells when you sand bone, like going to the dentist. So this is my dad's bench. So every instrument that gets built at the shop goes on my dad's bench before it gets built, which is just kind of an ode to him, and kind of, there's not really much more to read into it other than that. It's just kind of I feel like a nice validation of him and his work. So they go on his bench, and then they get dispersed, to the luthiers who are actually making them. So still intact to this day, and so that's cool. And then we have some just kind of cool memorabilia and articles and stuff on him. And if he were here and he saw that, he'd be like, guys, like, come on, like, I'm just Mike, like, please stop. That's really how he would be about it. But you know what? I'm doing it for him, whether he likes it or not. So, and then we have Jay is here. I mean, this is Saturday, so nobody's besides these wonderful gentlemen are working, but got Jay over here, Larry, we got Anthony right there working on a neck, actually collecting an instrument. We got Michael right over there. So he's working on stuff. We have another Mike that works in that corner, so it's very fun. Then we have Alex who works there, and then Tom Albert is here.